It's recording, yay!
All right, so here we are. We're at our local dog park.
We are. See the lovely tree behind us?
We're here with our dog Annie.
Yes, Annie is... Hold on. Do any, Yes. Oh, also it wasn't recording, so I don't know what I did.
So I'll stay quiet.
She's pooping. Yes, that was Annie. She's our adorable little dog.
She is.
And she is our girl dog, which everybody thinks is a boy dog, and Oliver is our boy dog, which everybody thinks is a girl dog.
Annie lifts her leg to pee. Oliver does not.
She does, yes. She also pees on every damn thing.
Yep. Annie is just about impervious to pain. Oliver will yelp if he is even, looked at wrong.
Yes, which is not to suggest that women are weak. Excuse me.
I think this is to suggest that this is why people always think that our boy dog is a girl and our girl
Fair
dog
enough.
is a boy, because they're conforming to ridiculous and outdated gender stereotypes.
Exactly.
I saved myself there.
So anyways.
So what are we talking about today?
I think we're gonna talk a little bit about
Gender roles?
Gender roles, which could get dicey,
So, gender roles. Cassie is very nervous about talking about gender roles, but I think we wanted to talk a little bit about how our, what is it, coming up on 6 years of experience as a lesbian couple,
yes.
has kind of shaped,
5.5.
Yeah, shaped our relationship, and, I guess how important it is, and has always been to us, not to have gender roles just because, I'm more masculine and Cassie is less masculine.
Yeah.
Have that kind of decide who does what in the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of comes down to what we like and what we're actually good at. So, you do most of the cooking because you're better at it.
Much better at it.
Yeah,
yes.
Sorry, I'm not a very good cook at all. But I can make steak. I can make really good steak.
She made me really good steak last night. It was delicious.
I did. I know how to make steak. It's the only thing I know how to make, but it's good. But I do most of the driving, and you do most of the navigating because I get lost really easily.
Right.
And I like driving.
I thought I was not very good at navigating, but then I met Cassie. And, well.
Yeah. I have yet to meet someone who's worse at directions than me.
Yeah.
So.
So what else? Making money.
Oh yeah, we both make money. I mean, we both care very much about doing something that we love and not something that's just strictly for making money, which, I mean, if you want to just go and make money and have your priorities be either family or travel or whatever, that makes perfect sense and that's totally fine. But we both have particular sorts of careers that we really enjoy and really want to work towards, and so we don't want to prioritize that. Just for instance, if we were going to go the traditional route of you being the one that makes the most money, then
sorry,
it's okay,
just adjusting the camera a little.
No, that's fine. Then you probably wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think specifically, Cassie has a job in a STEM field as an entomologist, as a entomology student right now, but as a prospective entomologist.
Eventually. And I do get paid for it. Not as much as I would if I wasn't a student, but...
Right. And I write nonfiction, journalistic kind of, sort of, essays, and I do so from the home, which means that when and if we have children, which we hope we will at some point.
Yes, we are trying.
It will probably be Cassie who has the children from her body, because I am not about that. No, thank you. But it will probably be me who stays home and spends more time with them when they're young during the day, while Cassie works outside the home.
Yeah. And it just works out that way.
It's
for
practical.
Us. I mean, yeah, it is.
And I think it's for us, I think it's a real value of doing things based on what's practical and who's good at what, not based on trying to subvert gender roles at every possible at every possible term, and also not trying to conform to any kind of gender roles that really aren't relevant to us. And I think that for me as a trans guy, I think this is something that I really value about having been in a relationship with a lesbian, and having seen my relationships in that way, because I really never saw myself as the man in a relationship and my girlfriends as the woman in that same way.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That we want to try to hold on to, because we're both aware of, and at least I'm a little bit nervous about how people already outside, you know, that don't know us that well, kind of default to treating you more as a man, which can be frustrating. And once you start passing and stuff, I feel like the temptation to be sucked into some of that outside sexism might be there. So we want to try to work as hard as we can to not let it affect our personal lives too much.
And for kind of the more trans audience, let's talk a little bit about why it might be frustrating for Cassie if I'm treated as a man. And it's simple. It's simple as sexism. When Cassie says that I'm treated more as a man, she means that when we go to the bar, like the male bartenders and the male customers will often, they'll talk to me more. They'll assume that I know a lot about things that I might or might not know a lot about. They'll kind of ignore Cassie when she tries to insert herself into the conversation. They'll kind of ignore her and turn to me and stuff. And this is just basic sexism that women have to deal with all the time.
Anytime, yeah.
And that even as someone who is not passing as male, I get more exempt from that than other people who at least appear to be female. And this is something that I think is kind of great for me. I've always kind of enjoyed being treated a little better because I look more masculine, but I think it's something that's really frustrating for Cassie. And really unfair in a broader societal sense, and really crappy in a broader societal sense, that anyone who's more masculine is also taken to be more serious and more worth listening to, and anyone who's feminine is kind of able to be ignored.
And I mean, there's another dog. We should keep an eye on her.
Here comes a dog. This is a very exciting moment for our dog Annie.
Annie's... yeah, she's fine. Okay, so I was gonna say on the flip side, I mean, there's always issues with sexism on one side. There's also issues with somebody who's visibly gender nonconforming is going to have issues in another sense. So I mean, it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I really haven't had to face all that much discrimination for being gender nonconforming. In general, I've always found that presenting more masculine has been much more of a positive for me than a negative, but I know that there are people who don't have that experience and who do face a lot of ignorance or hatred or whatever, and I don't want to minimize that.
Depends, I think, a lot on where you are and who you happen to come across.
It helps to be really charming, which I am.
Yeah, of course.
People generally like me a lot. They also subscribe to my Twitter feed @VYerk.
Okay.
And they follow me on Facebook.
We're not doing all of that again.
And they read my articles on Slate.com.
Right, stop.
Just because I'm really likable.
Right.
Yeah.
You did have that one, the bartender or whatever. You had some issues with him.
Remind me.
Oh, didn't he get... Never mind. Sorry. I thought I was saying something obvious.
No, I just don't remember.
You don't remember? I thought you wrote a whole article about it.
Oh, the barber.
Oh, the barber.
The barber.
Never mind. I said bartender.
I had trouble once getting my haircut because I wanted a male haircut, and the barber was really, really not feeling the male haircut for someone who he assumed was a woman.
Yeah. Okay, we're having a sober and not spending money week, which clearly is getting to my head a little bit.
We wish it was a bartender instead of a barber.
I do. Yeah.
So what else?
Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I'm just trying to make sure Annie's
Our dog is running around having a really great time, but we want to make sure
but...
she's not jumping up on people or being a pain in the ass in any way.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little dog here, so.
So talk about maybe your fears as I transition about the gender roles.
Here, you hold this for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just getting tired.
I think Cassie has some fears that that as I transition, maybe the egalitarianism and the sort of equality between the gender roles in our relationship might change.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get nervous about the possibility of you wanting to like prove to people that you're masculine if they start suggesting that you're not because of certain things.
Right.
And
because I have a vagina, for instance.
Well, hopefully people aren't going to be talking too much about that.
People seem to to think that's very important.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, I'm a fan of it. That's neither here nor there. But like, okay, so for example, your parents talking about how they're nervous so we thought about fostering, but then I ended up getting there was some confusion with medical bills from when I had surgery, and so we thought we should take care of that,
right,
whatever that issue is, before we do that. So we kind of put that on hold. But so your parents, when we first told them about that, were worried that I would be like just leaving to go to work and like dropping the kids off with me and not helping at all.
Yeah.
Right? And other people have made suggestions that like, well, are you sure you want to have kids right now because you're in school? And like, well, yeah, I know that V like works from home, but like, are you really gonna be able to like allow for that to be the situation? Like, are you sure you're not going to want to be the one who stays home in the end? Or
yeah, and I think there's a lot of pressure for you as the more feminine person and the person who would be carrying any children, because I don't want anything to do with that, to also be the person who is providing all or most of the caretaking.
Yeah. Which is not, I don't think, something that would happen it's definitely not something that would happen if I was a like cis guy in a cis het kind of relationship,
yeah,
right? And I was the one that was going to school and
right. Then it
stuff
would just be assumed that your wife would.
Exactly, right?
Right.
So that being people's initial assumption and initial worry is stressful, because when people are putting those kinds of ideas in your head over and over and over again, it does get to you sometimes. And I mean, same thing with like I don't want you to worry that because your parents are afraid that I'm just gonna like pawn some children off on you and then like desert you to go to school every day. Or your parents or anybody. I mean, they're not the only ones who are worried about this stuff. Yeah, that you're gonna start worrying. And I know you're not, but I mean, that it'll get into your head and you'll start worrying that that's what's going on. And
yeah, and I mean, I don't think that Cassie is like way off to worry about this kind of stuff, because I think as a trans guy, there's always that concern, like, are you enough like a real guy? Are you like too feminine? And people deal with that in different ways, and I think the trans community is actually really great about embracing people's feminine sides.
Yeah.
And not being super like heteronormative these days. But I do think that as a person who's always considered myself, more masculine than not, and as someone who is not a gay man, like there's that, it can get under your skin. It can be like, well, you can feel like you really want to prove to people that you are like a real dude and a guy's guy and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's certainly been something that I actively try to guard against. I try to be myself and not kind of succumb to that. But I do think that that's something that that's a pressure that's there, that people feel and that I feel.
Yeah.
And I, avoid giving into the impulse to change who I am or how I act, as much as possible.